there, it's Rachel from scrapeahappy.blogspot.com with the final part of my Use Your Stash challenge. This particular video features the rest of the papers that are left in my stash, and I have put together a little Easter card here. So this white paper measures 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and I went ahead and used this creamy chalk brown ink and inked the edges of the card. Then I cut this by 4 by 4 inches and corner rounded the edges to put that on there. And so we'll just use that as the card base. Then this paper that was left over from my layout, I will use that for the second layer to my card. And then I went ahead and used my nestabilities, and the pink that was left over from my single page layout, I cut out a scallop with my nestabilities, and as well as the circle with my nestabilities. Now this image is from Greeting Farms, and I just went ahead and colored it with my regular felt markers, and then you can see I did ink the edges with the same creamy chalk brown ink, and then I went ahead and stitched around with my glitter Sakura gel pen to just make that image pop. And then I have some ribbon here that is going to get adhered down. So what I've started to do is actually just make the card base, but then choose one layer that you're going to adhere everything down to before you adhere it to the card base. And then that way, for things like ribbon, you can just hide that in behind and you don't actually see it tied. So logical, but at the same time something that I didn't think of unless it was for other YouTube videos out there showing me what to do. Okay, so there we go. And then the stamped image and the nestabilities is going to go right there. And I did say that I wasn't going to be somebody who was going to buy nestabilities because I had my Elegant Edges cartridge. However, I did have a chance to use my friend's nestabilities when we went to a crop together, and they are great for cutting out digital images, and as well some of that thinner paper that would tear in your Cricut, it cuts beautifully with the nestability. So if it's something that you were leaning towards doing, I would get it. Let's just use my glue gun to glue the bow down, and then let's take my ATG and adhere it down. And if you had an Easter sentiment, you could go and put that right there, but I'm not sure I have one, so check back on my blog to see if I end up putting a little stamp sentiment there. Okay, so the next item that I decided to make is with the other leftover pink paper that I didn't use. I cut out 2 of these gift card holders from the Cindy Lou cartridge at 6 1/2 inches, so that gives you the height, and then folded it along the score lines, and then inked it with the same creamy chalk brown ink. Then I took this sentiment that I actually just had in the pile of items that I had left from this kit, and this was actually something that my friend Gloria was using for her cards, but was making mistakes and didn't want to keep them, so I asked if I could have it. And so I used a Studio G stamp and black Memento ink to stamp the birthday images, or the birthday sentiment. And then this flower is actually one that's handmade, and I took I made this cartridge using flowers from the Accent Essentials cartridge, and then used my scissors to make it have a tattered look, and used some glitter paint and a stamen and that little center behind it to make the card. So then this just goes like this, and there you go. And then you can see inside there's a little corner diagonals for your card. So that's one. And out of that piece of paper that was left from the 12 by 12, so I cut it down at 4 inches, and then I had the other 8 left. I could make these two. I could make 2 gift cards. So that's the one that I'm going to make. And then the other one, so same size, same paper. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I thought I would try some pink. Well, it's not really pink, it's rocket red gold. Just try that to ink the edges. And it just softens it, it doesn't make it look quite as harsh. Okay, and so have this one going the opposite direction of the last one. And then I'm going to actually pop dot the Enya up. And she was colored with just felts from my stash, and that was before actually I had my skin color. So here's this, just so you can see the difference of, so here's just a felt coloring. So you can see it's, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but you can see that it's not. So before my video cut off, I was showing the difference between the coloring of a regular felt marker that was a skin tone. So I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but you can see that it's not an even finish all the way through. You see white spots and more color in places than others, versus the Copics, where you can see that it's all even toned all the way through. So you can see why I really like coloring the skin color with the Copics. And you can see while I was getting video stuff all sorted out, I have done Happy Easter at the bottom. So then the final step is I see my battery's going to die, so I am going to put on my Enya, and I popped her up so it makes it easier for this to still open. And I am going to use my Amy R set to do the sentiment. And there we go. There is the completed card. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Let's Get Crafty, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.